Three news stories for you viewers. Firstly, we have an update from Sudan. In the previous video, I told you about a coup attempt underway in Sudan. Now people are starting to assemble, they are starting to protest in Khartoum, in Darman, in several other parts of Sudan. Reportedly, people are taking to the streets. We have some more updates as well. Secondly, what would be the impact of this coup on Tigray conflict? Some analysts are saying that this coup is an indication that US policies in the Horn of Africa have failed. And if the coup if it's completed by Abdul Fattah al-Burhan, Sudanese army chief, it could lead to a blow to the US and it would help Ethiopian government. We'll talk about that. And lastly, some pictures from Kombolcha Dessie front where we have received some pictures from the cities from Kombolcha and Dessie. What's happening in these two places? Firstly, viewers, a few hours ago, Sudanese military put Prime Minister Abdullah Hamdok under house arrest. Several cabinet ministers have been arrested and a coup is underway, as I said in the previous video a few hours ago. Now people have woken up to this news of the coup because the coup happened in early morning and protests have started now. In Khartoum, in other parts of Sudan, people are taking to the streets. And in some places, reportedly, security forces are trying to disperse them. Now, can Sudanese who support civilian government, who support politicians, can they come out in large numbers to make Sudanese military retreat? That remains to be seen, viewers. Protests have just started, internet shut down, and we have received only a few videos confirming that people are trying to protest. How will Sudanese military handle this extremely delicate situation? Abdullah Hamdok was under house arrest. Now reportedly he has been taken to an unknown location. Information Ministry of Sudan has issued a statement. It says Sudan's military is trying to pressurize PM Abdullah Hamdok to issue a statement in support of this coup. Some bodies of doctors and some other professional bodies, some trade unions, they have called for protests as well. Overall situation is very fluid these minutes in Sudan. We have seen a statement from US envoy to the Horn of Africa, Jeffrey Feltman. He says this coup attempt is unacceptable. Now I want to ask a question, viewers. Where is the African Union? Have you heard of this body? The topmost body in Africa so far has not issued any statement about what's happening in Sudan. Is African Union waiting for the stronger side to emerge to put its support behind the stronger side? That is what African Union does mostly in African conflicts. So far, no statement from African Union about worsening situation in Sudan. Will Burhan take over, or will he try to install some civilian setup? Well, I personally believe that Burhan will not lead from the front. He will try to install a civilian setup. Of course, people are out on the streets and Burhan cannot afford to take over from the front. He'll try to remain in the background. He'll try to install some civilian setup. That's my analysis. Then economic conditions in Sudan are very poor. Inflation, unemployment. These are challenges, viewers. Sudan's military would like to remain in the background like it was. It was in charge of the affairs as well. Once again, it will try to install a civilian setup to run the government. It will not take over the power, I think. Let's see what happens in incoming hours. Watch a few videos showing the protests which have started in some parts of Sudan. Then we'll talk about the impact of this conflict on Tigray, Ethiopia conflict and the ongoing war in Amhara and Afar regions. Now, when we have confirmed that coup is underway, if coup is completed and Burhan-backed civilian setup is installed in Khartoum, what would be the impact of this development on Tigray conflict? Some analysts are saying that US was trying to put pressure upon Sudanese military to support TPLF. And this coup is a blow to US policies in the Horn of Africa. I do not see any change in Sudanese policies towards Tigray, whether this coup succeeds or not. Because we have seen that Sudanese military was calling the shots. Even when Abdullah Hamdok was Prime Minister, he is still Prime Minister. Sudanese military was in charge. Whatever was happening on Sudan-Ethiopia border, it was mainly being spearheaded by Sudanese military. Fashaga, long disputed territory between Ethiopia and Sudan, it was taken by Sudanese military after the war started in Tigray. Sudanese military took advantage of the situation. It took control of large parts of Fashagal, Kubra Fashagal, Sora. Sudanese military was calling the shots in Sudan, viewers. We can only discuss, will Ethiopia make use of this opportunity and try to take back Fashaga or not? Amhara militias, Amhara forces, will they try to launch a full-scale invasion of Fashaga in coming hours or not? That is the question. Like Sudan did. Sudan took advantage of Ethiopian internal Tigray conflict while Amhara forces ENDF were fighting in Tigray in November, December. Sudan took control of Fashaga. Now when political tensions in Sudan are high, there is uncertainty in Sudan. Will Ethiopia do the same? Will Ethiopian forces, Amhara forces, launch an attack on Fashaga or not? That is the question. That's what happens. Thirdly, viewers, we have some pictures from Kombolcha, where massive mobilization and movement of civilians, militia members towards the front lines is continuing, viewers. You can see some pictures on your screen. The pictures are from Kombolcha. Militia members, civilians are patrolling the streets of Kombolcha and they're heading to front lines as well. Same is the case in Dessie, viewers. People from all parts of Amhara region, they are arriving in Kombolcha and Dessie. From Gondar, from Gojan, people are arriving in Kombolcha. And from some Oromia regions as well, we have heard some reports that some Oromo fighters who support Ethiopian government, they have arrived in Dessie and Kombolcha. They're heading towards the front lines where fighting is going on. Situation on battlefronts is a bit fluid, because people have been asking questions about that. Yesterday, we saw pictures from Kutabar. TDF was in Kutabar. After a few hours, ENDF made claims that they had pushed TDF out of Kutabar. But no confirmation, because so far Ethiopian National Defense Force, Amhara forces, they have not shared anything from Kutabar so far. TDF has shared its visual evidence that it was there, it is there in Kutabar. Most sources confirmed yesterday that there was no fighting in Kutabar. Fighting did not happen inside Kutabar town, and ENDF Amhara forces, they withdrew from Kutabar. Like they withdrew from Waldia, where there was no fighting inside the city. Here again, we heard that no fighting in Kutabar, no fighting in Tenta as well, from where ENDF Amhara forces withdrew. And people try to stop their withdrawal from Tenta as well. Situation is fluid on Dessie front. I'll try to update you if you have some concrete information available. TDF is definitely keeping its pressure upon Dessie front. Thank you for watching.